You are about to see mutilated corpses, burning tank carcasses, and all out mayhem, brought to you by Frontline Fatalities.
What's up, Company of Heroes fans, and welcome back to another Frontline Fatalities episode. This is going to be episode 26, brought to you by the Frontline Network. And we have a very, very special guest with us today. It is going to be another episode of Expert Insight, where myself, Tommy, and FatalSaint are joined by a very special expert. But before we introduce him, how are you going, Fatal? How's it hanging?
Everything's hanging all right here, a little bit to the left as usual, so nothing special going on. But yeah, I'm seriously excited about this episode today. We're gonna have another Expert Insight episode incoming for you guys here with this episode, and it's gonna be played on Angoville, and there's something even more special than just the Expert Insight part of this episode. As you can see on the main screen right now, which is mine, FatalSaint, all the picture footage in our cats are from Tommy's side, and all the main screen stuff happening on your screen right now, which you can see, is on FatalSaint's screen, on my screen, and I'm looking right at an HQ. What HQ is that, Tommy?
Oh, well, I mean, there are only so many HQs that come on wheels and can lock down points and ignore cutoffs and can produce infantry sections and LT blobs. But anyway, it is, of course, a British HQ. And I know that we have said many times that we would never cast a Brit game, and so we are, or at least I am, in the process of sort of eating my words, not literally, over that. But we've decided that seeing as it is Expert Insight, we thought we'd do something a little bit different. Now, in case you don't know, you may already know who we have as an expert, but he is a very, very special guest, and we are very excited to have him on the show. It is the one and only tournament winner, COH expert, Mr. Aimstrong. What's up, man?
Hey guys, it's good to be here on the show.
Yeah, it's awesome to have you here. Good.
It's a very exciting match, this one. I mean, you may have broken your promise about no British games, but this is a special exception. You got it here from an expert. This is one for the history books.
Well, we're really looking forward to see it. This is actually a game you played not too long ago against. Well, you were playing on the Smurf as The Storm is Coming against Aljaz, who is currently the #1 Brit and a fellow COH expert. So we're going to be in for some very high-level play, and hopefully, to you viewers at home, it will be both an entertaining and highly educational replay as Aimstrong talks us through his strategy and game plan. So without much further ado, I think we should get down into the replay. So we're all at the 5-second mark, and let's unpause in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, unpause. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So when you saw Aljaz on the loading screen, and you saw it was Angoville, and he was Brits, I mean, what goes through your head there?
Now, I remember this was a bit early in the day for me, and I had just expected like a fun match where I didn't really have to use all my mental resources. And then when I saw Aljaz here, I thought, you gotta be kidding, Ango. And then I was praying that I was starting north actually, because there's this special trick you can do if you go for the Pioneer Spam, and that is moving down to the house on the right side where most players set up their truck. And then, as you can see, my day got even worse when I saw that he wasn't going to fall for this trick. And that's why he sent this recon section up there, being so aggressive with it.
Yeah, so I can see you're producing a lot of pioneers here. Are you going for what kind of opening are you going for here against the British?
And normally against British, I like to skip tier 1 entirely and just produce pioneers. Now, the exact number isn't set in stone. It depends on how it goes. Here, if you want to take the house down there, you need to send 4 pioneer squads in total and try and get it. but they're gonna get owned really soon, you'll see, because a lieutenant and the recon section will be able to keep me off there. And this is actually not a very good situation I'm in, because now I have 4 pioneers clumped together and they haven't capped anything at all.
Yeah, I mean, he's the Brit player is almost going to beat you in terms of what he's going to manage to cap. But I suppose what you have done is sort of slightly delay his own capping, I suppose, because his recon section was sort of chasing your pioneers around the map. But yeah, so I mean, so you're going for the quick tier 2 then here.
Yeah, I am. And it's like I really like the Grenadiers and especially the half track to beat the British composition, because I feel tier 1 is so weak against a Bren in Bren. That was like the reason back in days where this strat got popular, that people decided to skip tier 1 altogether. Bren in your base is so annoying, and it's your worst nightmare, to be honest.
It's definitely one of the most powerful sort of, initial tier units. I mean, they don't call it the tier 1 tank for nothing. But despite a fairly shaky opening, you have managed to cap a decent amount of the map now. But it looks like you're going to be getting to your fuel a bit late. Does that worry you at all? Getting a later fuel than the Brits?
That was one of the things that worried me the most, actually. I mean, imagine skipping tier 1, getting the tier 2 tech, but not being able to build the tier 2 building. Then he could potentially checkmate me. So now I really focused on trying to keep my fuel so that I could at least get the tier 2 building up. Another thing is that veterancy for Grenadiers that's a really important part of the strategy. If you don't get it, then a blob of British troops with a lieutenant will be able to beat you. So that's the thing that I was really worried about. I was behind with.
I see you're putting up a bunker at your strategic point. Is that just basically to fortify your fuel income from the high fuel on the left-hand side here on Angerville?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a bunker with a pioneer squad in it will be able to really harass a capping British squad. So
you don't even need to make it into an MG bunker, which is, it's fairly usual that, now and then in games, Wehrmacht player will build a bunker to either protect that cutoff from harassment, or, they build the bunker after they have neutraled it or captured it against their enemies, and then they basically fortify the position with an MG bunker. So you basically just build the bunker, and then you're gonna go for a medic bunker, and then just, stick with, if you need to protect your cutoff, you just put a Pio in there.
Exactly.
Okay, interesting, very interesting. I also want to ask you, have you tried, is this your favorite anti-Brit tactic on only this specific map, or on all maps? Is it the Pio spam, or, do you prefer to do bike spam on some maps?
Nah, in general, this has been the strat that my go-to strat. I really haven't been using tier 1 for a very long time. And it's worked most of the time, did we put it like that. And I remember right now Aljaz is actually doing the best thing he can do against my strategy. Because the problem is, the strategy was built to counter the fast Bren. But when he doesn't get a Bren out now, he just has huge field presence with all these infantry sections. And that's really not something you want to face with just pioneers right now. So I'm actually pretty worried.
Yeah, he's even managed to, he ignored your cutoff and he went straight going for your fuel and munitions there, so you're actually going to be cut off from all your fuel here, which is really going to delay that first veterancy for your Grenadiers. Although you have decided to go for the half track first. What makes you choose what unit to get out of the Krieg barracks first versus Brits?
Normally, if I feel I have map control, then you can go for the Grenadier first. But the thing is, the half-track is basically uncountered if he doesn't have a Bren with an outgunned machine gun. So if I can just have the half-track out without worrying about a Bren carrier, then that's what I'm gonna try and do. Especially now you can see I have to take the fuel there and take it back, but normally I just go lieutenant hunting and just send it directly for his lieutenant, because there's literally nothing he can do about it.
Yeah, I mean, he has yet to produce any kind of like Piats or anything, so as you say, it's uncounterable at the moment, although we are seeing a captain coming out now from Aljaz, and he's got 40 fuel in the bank backing up that captain, so he's going to have enough to build a Stuart pretty soon. I mean, were you anticipating the fast Stuart? What are you actually building next out of the Krieg barracks?
Right now, I was trying to get some grenadiers out so I could begin to take control of how the fight went. And I did expect us to do it pretty soon, but I normally I get a pack for it, but this time I remember I specifically hadn't noticed the captain coming out of the field support truck. So actually, right now, I was thinking that he was building a steward, and that's really problematic because you really need to prepare for it. The worst thing I know is having a steward harass your troops and then commandos coming in to finish up the job.
Yeah, and those canister shots can really mess you up as well. One good canister, if you drop a Shrek, it's just horrible.
And as you can see now, I went for the fast Shrek and just a base rape on the truck, because right now he has no Bren to contest me down there. So right now he's actually pretty... Yeah, there's nothing he can do. Or is there? As you will see.
Holy
No! Canister shot from the steward takes out the Gren squad. The first Gren squad from Aimstrong's Creek Barracks with the Shrek goes down in one canister shot. Did you just smash your keyboard into your monitor, Aimstrong, there when that happened?
There's still a mark on my table right now after exactly that moment. That's Vermac player's worst stream. I mean, you wanna lie down on the floor and just call for your mother or something and make the bad guy go away, because every part of my plan now was pretty set back. As you can see, I have literally no anti-tank on the field right now.
Well,
and there's a steward trolling your Grens now.
The captain on the right hand side. He managed to kill the captain. So a minor victory.
It was nice to get the captain, but I can remember I was just totally demoralized. The field support truck didn't even die, and it was one Shrek shot away from being destroyed. This was... Now you can say that I was going for plan B now. I knew that I couldn't take the fight to him anytime soon. Now I needed to make sure to fortify my position, to get enough resources, to get the veterans up and running before the howitzer blob or whatever.
Well, it looks like he's actually going to try and circle strafe your pack here, which could be potentially quite dangerous, because as you say, you've got no real supporting AT. Oh no, this could be nasty!
Oh my god!
Canister.
God, I'm cringing all over the place. I don't even know what to say anymore. Canister shots from stewards, when they just lucky rolls, can completely change the game plan of everything. But the steward actually goes down. You know, what do you think about that? It's just basically because you were moving all onto the left-hand side of Ango and he had to micro elsewhere? Or was it just a plain mistake?
I think it was a micro problem, because I know Aljaz, he has some pretty decent micro. So I think right here he might have been teching or something, and then just been a bit sloppy with the steward. Or he could have thought that I was getting a Shrek on one of the grenadiers, which I actually was. But that squad got down to one man, so I had to cancel it and reinforce it. So I actually think that's why he didn't go and drive to the left side.
At least by this point, you've got a couple of Grens. You've still got the half-track still alive, and you've now got a pack. But even so, were you now anticipating a change of tactic, like, you know, the switch to the Brit blob?
Yeah, right now I was thinking that I really wanted to destroy the field support truck, and then I saw that he had repaired it. I saw the sapper Piat squad, and then I know he's gonna try and make up the blob now. That's what most British people do. They're gonna gather all their forces now that he is able to counter everything I have, and then try and move for my cutoff and finish me. And that's when I realized I need to try and get to him before he's able to do that. Even though I don't have veterancy, I have to make do with the best I have.
Yeah, not even... Do you even have a single stripe of veterancy? No, not a single stripe of veterancy yet. Although you are getting your Campcraft Center. I mean, how important is veterancy versus Brits, as opposed to just getting more units, especially in the kind of sort of back foot situation you're in right now?
Against a British player, if your blob fights against his, then he will lose way less manpower than you will, unless you have the veterancy. So you will lose a drawn-out war against him. So it's crucial. I mean, a really weak spot right now. That's why I'm fighting right next to the bunker. I was hoping that if the Grenadiers could die right next to it, that the medics could just pick them up instantaneously.
Oh, and you nearly got there as well, but the medic got taken down just before.
But
Although
as
this medic might make it.
as you'll notice, I'm actually not getting veterancy yet. I'm getting a mortar, and that's a really key part of my playstyle against British. Even with veterancy against the British club, it's maybe on equal terms. Maybe it's the guy who has the cover advantage, but it's really hard to advance against him and actually just kill his troops. That's what you need the mortar for. It's really crucial and the thing that tips the blood walls to your favor.
So as you're moving your half-track in here to protect your cutoff, are you deliberately pushing around the sapper Piats and making them change target to your half-track instead of destroying your medic bunker? You're trying to save it there?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
If the medic bunker went down there, then I'd be really behind because I need every scrap of resource I can get now to try and make the base rush against them.
Have you chosen a doctrine yet?
No, not yet. Usually I shift between a defensive style or I go terror if I'm able to. It depends on whether or not I can keep my half-track alive.
I think we just witnessed another small victory for you, polishing off a complete recon squad from Aljaz's infantry there. I think you
I noticed
lost
that,
the complete squad, yeah. Because I saw it was just the one guy, and it must have been the guy that was trying to cap your cutoff, which got grenaded and retreated. So I think, once more, just like with the Steward, it must have been a micromanagement error from Aljaz's side, because that recon must surely have been at the HQ for quite some while.
I think the recon only just reached the HQ actually. It got chased by the hard track.
Oh, really?
Taken down like
Yeah.
that, so.
Yeah, now that you say it, I remember now that I deliberately tried to drive the half-track down there to finish the recon section, just because I knew that it was low from the bunker walls.
Looks like Aljaz making another move on your cutoff here. This constant cutoff harassment is gotta be getting pretty annoying by now.
Yeah, it's really a key part of this map for the British to try and cut off the Wehrmacht player. I mean, just getting that point there and I'm left with almost no resources. But as you'll see right now, he's doing it and still losing a lot of men. That was a really bad decision by him. Even just cutting me off there and risking losing that recon section there, that's a bit too risky play for me.
Yeah, a lucky roll, dice roll there. You could have polished off his second recon squad there, and which would have left him with what? One Brent, Tommy, and a Piat squad. It would severely hamper his capping capabilities, and you could most likely have pushed him into his base there. So as you say, that was very risky from Aljaz's side there to stick around just to get the cutoff.
And now I remember I had given up my cutoff now. I knew it would be too much hard work to get with. Oh, just look at this commander though. This is what I was talking about earlier. This is a Wehrmacht player's nightmare, and thank God for the propaganda wall.
Oh, very nice. He's a prop ward there.
That
You've now chosen terror. I guess with the bunker down, you weren't really going to get the main advantage that defensive brings, which is the bunker reinforcement. So.
Exactly, and this really showcases the strength of going for propaganda wall. He had made the assault now with the crumble, committed, expecting the commandos to be there, but just forcing those guys to retreat. His plans were foiled, and
tennis. I think you came out on top there.
Yeah.
You actually killed 3 commandos, and they're very expensive to reinforce. So are grenadiers, but I think you only lost 2 men compared to his 3.
Right now, I really wanted to make sure he didn't get the pack, because I had destroyed the crumble, and I had gotten veterancy now, so I knew now I was able to make some comebacks. Now I was able to stay in the game. And as you can see, the mortar wounded his troops pretty hardly there, but he just had 4 men in that Prince one.
Very low health 4-man Brent squad is going to be able to recrew this pack now. Sadly, even though you did make a valiant effort at trying to deny him the cap of your support weapon, which, that leaves you with a Shrek SAT if he continues to create tanks, Cromwells or whatever from the armor command truck now. You're just gonna have the one Shrek.
Yep, that's pretty much it right now. But I could get more because I expected to take back the cutoff now because of the number of troops you had on the right side. The thing I was more afraid of was the fact that I really need the half-track to reinforce on the field, because he will fight close to his truck, so he can reinforce. And with the pack there now, my half-track is gonna be in a really tight spot when we fight. And that was the thing that was worrying me right now.
Although you do still have this mortar with 7 kills already. is, I mean, at least that provides you with some way of countering the pack.
Exactly. Yeah, I knew right now that this match could go both ways, and especially with him with tank tech right now, I was gonna need to keep him occupied and try and drain as much manpower as possible. That's why I'm taking the fight to him all the time. And as you can see, the pack standing there, I was deliberately hiding my half track to make sure that I could reinforce without being shot at right here.
Yeah, that's a smart move because obviously the pack is just out of range at the moment. That pack.
But as you can see, the heroic charge and lieutenant is able to destroy my grenadiers even though they're in light cover and he isn't. Just look at how they shred those poor grenadiers.
Oh god, that 2 Grents as well, just...
Yeah, but 2 Grens don't seem to be much of a match to Bren Tommies and Vet 2 LTs, giving them the offensive bonuses. So, yeah, you know, I guess you're still going minus in the manpower war. Aljaz is on top.
Yeah, that was what I was. That was what it was feeling like too. But I mean, I think that demonstrates it pretty well. If I don't have the mortar to actually kill his troops, and just use the grenadiers as a meat shield, then I will lose the manpowers.
Your forward,
and look at it.
Your forward reinforcement point just got destroyed by a Cromwell, which actually goes out to your newly created pack. So that was a bit of
unlucky flying from him. I had gotten another pack because I knew he would try and get tanks again, and just as he was trying to take down the half track, the pack came out.
Yeah, very good timing
really
from
fortunate
you.
timing on the pack.
But again, it's also about play styles. Sometimes you need to try and say, I'm in a good position right now. I don't lose enough. I don't lose that much manpower as other guys, so I don't need to take these risks. That was what I was going to do in his position. But he tried to take that risk, and sometimes it just doesn't pay off.
Oh, nice mortar
wow,
hits on a commando squad, trying to stop the grenadiers from capping the cutoff and just trying to hold them off, while the rest of the infantry was reinforcing from Aljaz. Now moving in with 2 Bren squads and a Piat squad. So basically, how do you hold off this? You're trying to stall him in green cover to then mortar him to death?
Exactly. And the grenadiers prevent them from moving up, and then the mortar tries and takes them out. You can see I don't have enough mass, whatever you call it right now, to keep him away. He still charges me, but right now his troops are too split, and I outnumber him. So...
Grenade going in on the Bren Tommies behind the tree. Instant retreat from Aljaz, however, causes minimal damage.
I mean, what you see a lot of Vare players do is just pure Gren spam with just, you know, Gren. I mean, what is like the main weakness of that strategy?
The main weakness is that it can turn into a blob war where if he gets his blob up and running, then he is able to stand in cover and actually win over me. That's where the mortar comes in. It just gives that extra artillery killing power.
And now you're able to really take the fight to him. It looks like you're going to steal his house, and
I was going to try
and pin him at the truck.
I was going to try and take the cutoff to try and reduce his pop cap right now.
Oh, very interesting actually. Yeah, on Angoville and Semois, PopCap can really change games if you start harassing your opponent's cutoff, which both Angoville and Semois has pretty obvious cutoffs, which cut off a lot of PopCap from either player if they lose their own cutoff outside of their base.
Another Cromwell out now, so...
Another Cromwell and a pretty big blob.
Your idea of teching? Like, are you thinking, okay, he's building so many tanks, I want to get some tanks, or
right now,
with the Grents?
If I had techs right now, then I would waste too many resources on not having units on the field. Right now, I am half a point away from the King Tiger, and I was just praying and crossing fingers that I could get it as soon as possible, because with the pack down now, I'm in a pretty bad spot, and the commandos are shredding from that house, but I can't move out or his troops, his blob will shred me.
Rifle 8's now upgraded to one of the Tommy sections from Aljaz. That's probably a counter to your mass grenadier build order right now, as that's what Aljaz has been seeing the past few minutes, that you keep producing grenadiers and they're all vet 2, so he needs some sort of crowd control, I guess.
Yeah, especially if you don't get veterancy for a Grenadiers. I remember a game where I played against Swikes, an old player, and he was able to prevent me from getting veterancy and spam rifle grenades, and that just devastates the round I play. And now, this was a really tough spot, because if I retreated now, I would lose all my footing on the field. With the cutoff on,
You'd lose your pack as well.
and the pack here, my troops some of them might die on retreat. I was waiting for a special surprise to come in and save them. I mean,
Oh,
just
great.
lost a Grenadier. This my adrenaline was pumping right now. Just look at I'm cornered, but this is where the heroes come in. Let me put it that way.
Here's the KT, rolls onto the field. That Cromwell has not much to say in that engagement. He has no chance in hell to penetrate the front of a KT, even the slightly reliable.
No, not even the slightest, does it? I mean,
No,
there's
not
no
really.
damage done.
And this is where going Terra really pays off. If you notice, then we've had this fight between the infantry, and he has had his Cromwells to give him an advantage. But he actually doesn't have anything on the field right now that can really contest the King Tiger. So now my plan of thought was I was able to retake some of the territory and just pretty much keep harassing him with the Tiger, because he will need a Firefly, and I haven't seen a command tank yet.
Yeah, and Aljaz just produced another Cromwell, which he had the opportunity to actually cancel, but he went ahead and actually finished producing that out of the armored command truck. It just rolled onto the field. But Cromwells are just not enough against the King Tiger, as we said. They have no chance in hell to even penetrate that frontal armor. The percentages are laughable, really.
Yeah, they really are with the Cromwell. It's a good AI tank, but nothing else. You managed to clear the pack, and it looks like you're going to destroy your own pack. So I guess you don't need any other AT, because now you have the KT.
Exactly. King Tiger and some Shreks, and now I want to try and keep pressure on him. If we can fight next to him, then the philosophy is then I won't risk having to defend my own territory, so that's always a bonus.
Although it looks like Bren Button might be your bane here.
True, but that's where the infantry support comes in. His troops were just getting shredded, they weren't really standing in cover. And I had Grenadier Squad goes.
No,
you
that's nasty.
That's another spot on the table right now that's been marked.
Yeah, you're now down to 2 Grenadiers, your Pios, which are currently repairing your half-track, which you had to rebuild after losing the first one to the second Cromwell out from Aljaz.
This is actually my third half-track.
Oh, it's your third? Really?
Oh wow, now the mortar goes down as well. Is your desk slowly sort of going into pieces by this?
Yeah, but I knew now I could try and just push him. And I
Oh
got
wow, long
that
range.
was
hit.
really great. I knew now I just had to press the advantage. Try and take the mortar and get that pack destroyed. As you can see, it has almost no life left.
Yeah, no gun
Just a
health
hit.
left on the pack.
A hit from any explosive would destroy it permanently. But here he has me in a pretty good spot now with that Bren.
Oh, there
But
goes
with
the pack.
destroyed, he can't really damage me.
He has 1 Piat squad and a Cromwell, which he's not attempting to flank with, as he knows, you know, there's Shrek on your Grens, so... And that button is not
Shrek.
gonna last forever.
Shrek on the Grants, and he may also have thought that maybe I had a pack there somewhere.
Yeah,
I'm
another
actually
pack.
down to pretty few units right now, as you can see.
Yeah, I mean you had to reman the mortar with the Gren squad as well, so you had to pay for the reinforcement on that squad. So it's I mean it's the tide of the battle is sort of ebbing and flowing. Oh no, damaged engine on the KT.
Damage engine in the KT now. This was where I was starting to feel really bad. This is a really dangerous spot. Now I just had to make sure that he couldn't rush me with heroic charge or something, button it and then flank it. And as you can see, the commandos on the left side have been really annoying. And that's the thing you really gotta watch out for if the commandos cap part of the map. You can almost always expect him to have built some form of demolition charges somewhere. And
Has
as
he actually built any damage charges? He's going back to the VP now. I think he's going to try and place one here.
now I was trying to focus
Yep,
on
yep,
repairing the
yep.
King Tiger. I was anticipating him to get some real AT soon. At the same time, you can see that the Morsa is killing a lot of his units. He's not able to charge it because it's a Tiger, and now the recruit mortar actually has 12 kills.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, 13 kills now. So that's about 23 kills total. So the mortar's really paid off in that respect. I mean, it's something that their players could probably do with noticing. It's just how useful the mortar is in that engagement.
It's a little
most
bit of
people,
a
as I say,
centerpiece in your strategy.
They just mindlessly spam grins, but
I'd say as much as a sniper is part of my strategy against the Americans, the mortar is a key unit against the British. You'll have to have sealed the game really early, something you can't do against a really competent British player if you don't get it out. I mean, it is what this strategy is all about. It's what...
That was a nice prop wall. Because your KT was in a bad spot, actually, because it couldn't really reverse without showing the rear armor.
Yeah, and as you can see now, I figured that it was going to be fake artillery.
That was a very good fake. You didn't even move.
I remember watching it, and then I was like, he wouldn't have. There was just something odd. I knew I had pressured him pretty hard, and I expected munitions-wise. I'm not sure if it's true. You'll have to tell me that he was low on munitions rolling demolition charges on the left side.
Yeah, he had 125. Well, he needed 125 for the actual barrage, and he only had about 80 in the bank.
And now you can see I'm trying to take the crumble at the same time as he's charging me. But his problem here is, again, the King Tiger is such a super tank that he needs some real dedicated anti-tank power to destroy it. It's just laughing at him right now. That's the advantage of going terror against British. You try, and it's really a stalling match. Oh, and you'll see it.
Inspired assault you get the Shrek
on
going.
Shrek
Very
runs.
nice.
Increased firing rate. Yep.
Oh wow, that was very nice.
Although now you need to make sure they don't die on retreat.
Yeah, this could be a really dangerous situation, but he was retreating. God knows why.
If he had focus fired that with the inspired assault still active and lost that Gren, that would have been a real blow.
That would have set me back again.
Yeah.
I was starting to feel pretty confident until he could get the Fireflies out, because if he could start taking down the King Tiger at long range and keeping me from moving up, then he could start to make a comeback against me.
You're not triple capped on VPs as well. Is that worrying you, or are you mostly worried about basically bringing the fight to his HQ?
Right now, my number one priority after the disastrous early game with the Steward destroying a whole Gren squad with Shrek was just to try and win it. So victory points right now were at a low priority because I knew I wouldn't be running out anytime soon.
Yeah, you've been in possession of at least 2 against 1 VP for the majority of the match, and you have drained Aljaz down to 364, and he just recently capped the left-hand side VP with his commandos and planted demos over there as well. So, you have not been drained that much. You're still above 300 VP, so you got a good amount of time left to, retake the VPs to start to drain on Aljaz again. A grenade goes down on the commando trying to cap the cutoff from you on the left-hand side. You're using a lot of grenades. Do you feel they're effective for their price?
No, they're good in a match like this because we're both trying to micro 2 places at the same time. So if you can get a grenade in where he doesn't look, that could tip the odds to your favor. And the commandos are able to, just one squad is able to take on a veterancy 3 grenadier squad.
And what is your opinion on Vet 3 infantry? You've stuck around with Vet 2 pretty confident in that elite armor. Is there a time in this matchup when you would get Vet 3 infantry, or is it just like when you have spare resources?
I can't remember exactly if I was getting veterans here, but the reason I wasn't was that I lost a pretty large amount of squads, and right now it was all about getting extra firepower to just take the fight to him. And if you notice on the left side, I had deliberately kept...
Oh, Firestorm!
Yeah, this was where I felt really confident in taking him. Now he had almost 0 units, and because of the veterancy, was able to keep getting these grenadiers out. The focus now was on getting the lieutenant down. If he was killed out, as you can see, he's now left with units that actually can't take the veterans grenadiers on anymore.
Yeah, you've now tipped the tide in, you know, a 1 versus 1 fight. He can no longer counter your infantry with his own infantry without the veterancy bonuses from the Vet 3 lieutenant. And now a command tank rolls out, pretty much, you know, showing his hand to you right now in that I'm going to go for Fireflies to counter your KT, which is right now your KT is really making his life a living nightmare.
Getting the command tank from him now would be like teching from me. He was so pressured right now that going for the tech made me able to actually just go for the base rate. So
Yeah.
I don't think it was that good of a decision.
He can't afford that at this time when he was pushed so back into his base there.
Now
What,
the
if any- Sorry, go
the-
on.
The Firefly is out now, but he has lost his troops to defend it. I could basically rush it at this point. So he
Okay,
threw in the
okay.
towel. It was a real war of attrition this game. I really had my adrenaline pumping for most of it.
What
And-
would you have done differently if he had tech to a Firefly earlier, like when he was in a fairly good position, and he had just seen the KT roll out?
Then I would have gotten some packs to support it, because if there's one thing you don't want to wrestle with the Brits, is it's a fight where you both have tanks along. Like if he had real tanks and was able to contest the King Tiger without any anti-tank, because the Fireflies are so long range. In theory, one Firefly can destroy the King Tiger alone, just
Yeah.
because of its range, and it penetrates all the time. Yeah, I haven't seen a Firefly not penetrate a King Tiger. Ironically, the only time I've seen a Firefly not penetrate was against a Stook. I'm not sure
Really?
what was up with that. Yeah,
It's very rare. I mean, it's basically a 17 pounder on wheels, isn't it? And a 17 pounder only bounces on like the Jagdpanther, basically, and like occasionally the Hetzer. So
but
yeah, it's crazy.
the fact that he got the Firefly out so slowly, so late in this fight, was that this whole match had been a war of attrition, where he had played his hand really well. I'll recommend this to all British players. Use his capping order, with the lieutenant capping the mission point instead of that infantry section. Don't be greedy and take it right away, because if you do that, I can't checkmate you with the pioneer spam, and I'll waste a lot of time just having those 4 pioneer squads going down there, expecting to take it, but I'm not even able to take the plus 16 fuel. And then we saw that the whole game was, he didn't get a Bren carrier. It was a lot of infantry sections versus my grenadiers, where he had gone for the cutoff, gone for my fuel point on the left side, and he had taken my veterans away from me. It came very late. What kept me in this match was some really defensive play with the half track. That was a lifesaver. Again, because he hadn't gotten that Bren out early, I was able to use the half track and use it to, like, make sure that his troops could move up and take care of me.
Yeah, it gave you sort of additional forward momentum, I guess, and sort of by the time that you had sort of secured yourself after that very shaky start, you had, you know, the half track at least allowed you for sort of a base of operations, and also allowed you to go for terror instead of defensive, of course, which obviously turned out to be, you know, a real lifesaver, because, you know, a flak 88 just wouldn't have been the same.
Getting that King Tiger, being able to get into that kind of late game with Wehrmacht also guarantees that you won't end up on the receiving end of an artillery match. If I'd got defensive, then I think he might have opted for a 25 pounder and a blob instead. And again, if that's actually one of the reasons why I also go for the mortar. It's the prime killer here, like the sniper is the killer in early tier 1 compositions for Wehrmacht. If you don't have that mortar to kill him, he will have that extra manpower to get a 25 pounder. And if he gets set up behind the wall there on the right southeastern part of the map, then I'm not able to contest it. And that's a spot you really don't want to get into.
Yeah, indeed. Just to remind our viewers of the strategy, the little trick you were talking about at the beginning. I'm sure Fatal can show us the building that you're talking about, the building that you rush right next to that plus 16 munitions on there on the right. So you would just go there straight away, like with the first Pioneer. And if you grab that building, is it basically good game from there because he can't cap the munitions?
Uh, uh, some people are actually able to cap the munition point. Then you'll have two pioneers inside the building and maybe the recon section at half% HP. That's why you also have two additional pioneer squads down there. One of them caps the point, and then you just when you're decamming it, he won't be able to set up there. And most people move their truck that early, so the truck will be there just parking, camping, without setting up, and he will be forced to retreat his recon section. From then on, he will have to move to whatever his secondary unit was capping, and that's a really, really bad spot to be in for the British on this map. So
Yeah, definitely.
that's
Yeah.
something I'd recommend doing all the time on this map. It works so often, and I've beaten a lot of high-ranked British players just by using that trick.
Yeah, the main difference with the houses here at the VP outside of in this round, the British base here where he put up his HQ, is that munitions point on the 16 is what the Brits really want. But if you're playing against Americans, US on this map, obviously it's I'm not sure what to call it, the cutoff house is a way more important house than the one on the forehand right side, which protects that munitions. Because, the British doesn't need a cutoff. He can get the 16, put his truck, and get the 16 fuel, and it's pretty much golden.
British cutoffs. There's a good one.
Yeah, they don't exist. So yeah, there's a big difference there. I think a lot of Wehrmacht players can learn from that. If you start on the north of Ango, it's this building you're interested in. You want the one at the high munitions where the Brit is gonna set up his HQ. You don't want the cutoff building because it's basically useless to both you and the Brit.
Indeed. Well, that was awesome to have you here, Aimstrong, for your insight for this fair Brit matchup, which I know a lot of Wehrmacht players have a lot of trouble with. And also, as you say, the early Brit capping order, there are very few players, Wehrmacht players, that would have come back from an early game like that, losing the fuel and losing the cutoff and just generally having a really horrible time of it so early on. So I think a lot of players, both Wehrmacht and British, can learn from that. And I learned a lot myself, as I did when we did an expert insight with Seb a few weeks ago, which you can catch. We'll stick an annotation in there. You can go and catch the last episode of Expert Insight, which we did with Seb, which we did a little while ago. But otherwise, thanks a lot, guys, for watching, and we will see you next time, hopefully with some more Expert Insight episodes coming your way soon.